Hi there folks, what's going on? My name is Dylan108 and welcome to my weapon review of the SPAS-12 shotgun found in Battlefield 3. So this is actually episode 8 of my gun guide series. You can find the other episodes on my own channel. But for now, I hope you guys enjoy this one, and if there's any feedback you want to leave, be sure to do that, because this series is basically founded upon your own feedback so that you guys get the most out of it. So without further ado, and with that said, let's get into this. So, starting off with some weapon info for you guys. The country of origin for the SPAS-12 is Italy. It is a combat shotgun that was manufactured by an Italian weapon company called Franchi SPA. The weapon itself was introduced in 1983, and since then countries like Austria, Russia, Ireland and the United States have adopted it. So you might be asking, how do you unlock the SPAS-12? Well, you'll need to complete the relatively simple These Hurt 2 assignment by achieving 20 shotgun kills as well as 20 pistol kills. Keep in mind, however, that you'll need to have access to the Close Quarters expansion pack to be able to have this assignment in the first place. The SPAS-12 is transferable across all classes in Battlefield 3, so whether you're playing Assault or Recon, Support or Engineer, you will always have the option to equip it. This weapon holds 5 shells by default, however if you decide to equip extended mags, then you will be able to expend 7 before having to reload again. Alright, so on the subject of reload time, I would like to say that with the SPAS, it's difficult to give you a definitive answer on this, given the wide variation of reload times possible. After taking each SPAS-12 animation frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond, I can tell you that in the case where only 1 shell needs to be loaded, you will be held back by about 1.5 seconds. Going on from that, any additional shells that may need to be loaded as well will increase this time by 0.6 seconds each. If you empty all of the shells inside the weapon, a unique animation at the start of this reload in particular will take 2 seconds to complete. Then, in the case of the default SPAS-12 setup, loading in the other 4 shells will cost you 2.4 more seconds, which overall equates to a total time of 4.4 seconds for that one. With the information I've just provided, doing the math is fairly easy for calculating all of the SPAS-12 reload times, but generally you get the idea. The more shells you need to reload, the longer it takes to get back into action. That's all you really need to know. Moving on to fire modes, this being a pump action shotgun, the only fire mode available here, obviously, is semi-auto. This weapon fires at a rate of 150 shots per minute. For a pump action, that's pretty quick, and if you hit the trigger at the right moment, usually you can fire again without fully completing the pump animation. While other shotguns like the USAS-12, M1014 and DAO-12 have faster fire rates, the fact that the SPAS-12 has a tighter spread and more pellets per shot makes this a lot more effective and flexible if placed in the right hands. The SPAS-12 fires 11 pellets compared to the 12 that the 870 MCS fires. A lot of people like to ask, what's the difference between these two shotguns and which is better overall? To address the first point, I'd like to refer back to what I mentioned about pellets. Like I said, the SPAS-12 fires out 1 pellet less per shot than the 870. Don't jump to conclusions yet though. While the 870 shotgun does best the SPAS in this department, it's a different story when it comes to fire rate. Again, referring back to a previous point, you'll remember I mentioned the SPAS-12 has a fire rate of 150 RPM. The 870, however, is less capable at a fire rate of 125 RPM. This means with the SPAS, you can fire a little faster at the cost of potentially less damage dealt per shot. Which is better? It all comes down to personal preference. If you think your aim is precise, I'd recommend the 870. In your case, the fire rate won't matter if you can kill at the first pull of your trigger. The SPAS-12 is for those with less confident aim, or even those who just like to be able to fire as many shots as possible in a close range situation. With the quicker fire rate, you aren't punished as much if you miss the first shot, given you can quickly make up for it with a second go. Even though you won't get as many pellets to take advantage of, it could be argued that a faster fire rate is well worth the sacrifice of a single pellet. So which attachments should you use with the SPAS? First off, let me recommend either the Cobra or Reflex sight. Both are suited to close to medium range engagements and work well with this weapon. It comes down to your own personal choice as to which one to use. Another very important attachment I have to insist on is the extended mags. When attacking environments clustered with enemies, a 5-shot limit simply wasn't enough for me. Even though it's only a 2-round bonus, you won't believe how much extended mags helps you out. I'm pretty sure that all the triple and multi-kill clips I have here were recorded while I was using this attachment, so there's no question, equip it. Now we come to the more difficult question, flechette, buckshot or slug, which do you use? Well, first off, draw flechette out of the equation completely. It simply did not work at all for me and was extremely ineffective at almost any range I used it at. The two other choices are far more useful, and the key is to choose depending on what type of player you are. If you find you're good with snipers, for example, or you're just confident with your aim in general, the slug is the way to go. I don't think it's disputable that once you get good with slugs, the SPAS-12 is at its best. Keep in mind, however, that if you miss or you panic in a situation, more than likely you're gonna die. Slugs don't compensate for anything short of great aim. If you're not so accurate, definitely go with the buckshot. It has a wider spread for a larger radius of damage, but you lose lethality at longer ranges. That said, it's arguably more effective than the slug in CQC, but I would recommend to use the slugs eventually. Once you get used to them, they're far superior to buckshot rounds. Overall guys, I give the SPAS-12 an 8.8 out of 10 just because it's pure fun to use and it's great at rushing your opponents. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my channel for more and consider subscribing. Have a great day folks, and have fun out there on the battlefield. Bye.